morning. Good morning. Yes, the song still gets me every single time. I don't know. I miss the day going live every single day. I think this song was the way I got my day started when we started with this whole lockdown thing. But yeah, so 18 months later, here we are. Good morning, good morning. Welcome to another Friday edition of PROpulsion Live. Really excited this morning to have Leilani back from the FPI to do the news. And Norma, as always, is also here. And she is going to talk about how to enjoy being you, which I think is such an important thing to just, enjoy. So I look forward to that section. And then obviously I've got a couple of announcements, and then I'll get into the featured topic today. And that featured topic is all about the seismic shifts in financial advice. And where this comes from is just a few discussions I've had, a few observations I've had, and just some new thinking, and really just trying to sort of maybe bring a bit of what if, and maybe things that we should be thinking about, things that we think are maybe not anything or going to be anything, things that we need to start considering, and just maybe stepping back a bit and see where are we 18 months later now, because a lot has happened. Things that was going to take 5 or 10 years has really been accelerated through our sort of where we find ourselves at this point in time in this lovely October in 2021. But before I talk too much already, I'm very excited for this morning. Good morning, Kobus. So Kobus is driving down to KZN, and I'm going to be talking about some of the things that Kobus has been doing, not directly, but some of the things I'm going to be talking about relates to what Kobus is doing. So I hope you're driving safe, Kobus, and say hi to your wife. Good morning, Ben. Nice om jou weer te sien. Dankie dat jy hier is. Gwendra, good morning, good morning. I hope you are doing well. Jeff Noble, good morning, Jeff. Nice to see you back as well. Albert Fritz, good morning. Hope you're doing well, Albert. Hoop het gaan lekker daar. Daar's hy. David Kopp can be doing this from his bed this morning, so awesome stuff. Good morning, Razan. Nice seeing you as well. You and I need to do a catch-up, a coffee or a lunch or something, but we need to make a plan. Renee, good morning, good morning. Jaco Roots, my mater, it's been a while. Tracy, good morning. Mark Lang, good morning, Mark. Hope you're well down in Oz. And Khomotso, good morning. Awesome to see you back today as well. All right, so with that, as you know, we start off the show with the latest news of what has transpired over the last week and maybe what's happening in the upcoming week. So with that, I'm going to hand over to Leilani in the news studio.
Good morning, Francho, and everybody else that's online this morning. It is an absolutely fantastic, beautiful Friday. When Francho asked me, how's my day? I said to him, you know what, I'm too blessed to be stressed, and I mean that. So good morning, everybody, and Kobus, hope you have a safe drive all the way to KZN. So what's news? If you're an active member on the FPI's community, there's quite a few important announcements that you should not miss. I'm just going to highlight two. The one is that the CFA Society of South Africa, APSIPS, which is the Association for Black Securities and Investment Professionals, and the Financial Planning Institute invited to a final FinWeek Collective Insights Roundtable virtual discussion for the year, and they're going to deal with debt. Very important discussion, so join the discussion, and the contributing authors would be Andrew Davidson, Noni Canham, Penelope Gregorius, Kobus Klein, Joseph Peary, Carol Lindsay, and of course Paul Nixon. And that discussion will be moderated by none other than David Kopp. Good morning, David. You're supposed to be on leave this morning. So when? Well, that is the 19th of October 2021. That is Tuesday next week. And what makes this slot so nice, it's at 5:30 in the afternoon till 7 at night. So you can relax, have a nice cup of coffee, and join that round table discussion, which I think would really be exciting. So it's the Collective Insight, a round table, and it's a virtual round table dealing with debt. Then a very, very important important announcement if you've missed it. There's an announcement that came out from the Financial Sector Conduct Authority requesting all financial services providers to please log on to the e-profile and update your information by 15 December. Let me clarify the year, 2021. So if you've missed it, it's an FSCA information request 2 of 2021, and it's a general notification, and they ask you to please log on to that e-portal using the credentials that was issued to you by the authority and verify all your information. Then, of course, what would an FSCA notice be without that section that says failure to comply with request? So that's section number 4 in terms of section 2671 of the Financial Sector Regulation Act, and this is as per the notice: failure to provide the specified information by or within the time frame will result in an offence, and that's as per section 267 of the Financial Sector Regulation Act. So please don't miss that. That's quite an important announcement. Then I do want to give a shout out to everybody online and say thank you very much for helping the Financial Planning Institute to celebrate Financial Planning Week. We had over 187 impressions and posts on social media last week. And thank you to the FPI ambassadors. You know who you are, for resharing, posting videos for us and our posts. If you've missed any of the sessions that the FPI ran during Financial Planning Week, please have a look at the FPI's YouTube channel. All those recordings are there. And please let your clients also have a look at that educational material. Then something that I do want to quickly touch on, at the FPI convention, we are very fortunate and blessed to have Noel May, the CEO of the Financial Planning Standards Board, that would be covering the survey that was released via press release during Financial Planning Week around financial planning practices in the future that will be more innovative, more human, and more in demand according to the global CFP professionals. Just a few topics that came out. Technology is definitely expected to enhance the practice of financial planning. There's a lot that you can read. It was posted again on the FPI's site, also on social media, reposted. Financial planning relationships will shift towards collaboration, and financial planners embrace softer skills. And that's something that's coming through that's very important, is for you to really hone in on your softer skills from a coaching, mentoring, and communication skills point of view. And the public demand for financial planning is definitely increasing, driven by a massive need for retirement. So that's something interesting that came out. And then rising awareness for the value of financial planning, and how do you rebuild trust is a key engagement topic for the certified financial planners globally. But then a very interesting one that I'm going to read a little bit more on is that the global community, the professional financial planning community, has highlighted that continuous professional development is key to any professional financial planner's success. So it is, and the FPSB welcomes the news and the affirmation of the commitment of the global professional community to professionalism. And the respondents to the global survey listed that continuing education and professional development as the action that would have the most significant impact on your success over the next 5 years. And that this was, of course, followed by embracing technology and shifting client service to a holistic, more model of financial planning. Then just a few things that you need to have a look at. There was a few decisions coming out from the Financial Services Tribunal. I'm not going to go into the details, but have a look. The Ombudsman's Office did send them out, and FPI did post them on our member site for you. So that in a nutshell is what I want to share with you. And please don't forget to register for the FPI's fully virtual convention. It's a live virtual event. So the interaction with you and your questions coming through is real time. It's not a pre-recorded session where we are not able to actually fully engage with the speakers. Fransha, back to you in the studio. Blessings to all.
Thank you very much, Leilani. Yeah, really looking forward to the FPI convention. I can't believe it's already happening. It's just like, this is so long off, and now it's in a week and a bit. So yeah, it's not this coming Monday, it's the Monday thereafter. And
Indeed.
I'm excited to be involved just with that technology discussion. So that's going to be awesome. So trust me, it's going to be amazing. So that's just one of the things. And yeah, Lelani, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Hope you have a fantastic weekend. Thanks for your time and for always popping in to say hi. We deeply appreciate it, and have a fantastic weekend.
You too.
Thanks a lot. Bye-bye. All right, so just, I actually have coffee today, so in my Iron Man mug. I still miss my original Marvel mug that I had when we started the show, but I know this morning I feel a little bit nostalgic, I think, so I thought, let me get proper coffee in a proper mug, and I hope you're also having your coffee and enjoying this morning with us. And while you're doing that, I'm going to head on over to Norma, and we are going to hear how to enjoy just being ourselves, which I think is so important. Norma, over to you.
Good morning. So this morning we're talking about how to enjoy being yourself. So I'm sure you all can relate to maybe a time in your life where you didn't really enjoy being yourself and you didn't even maybe like where you were at that point. So what then happens is that we think we should be different and we think maybe we should be better. And in actual fact, we're just missing out on being ourselves in that point in time. So we wishing that things would be different, and we're actually not just celebrating where we are at that moment. So just think in your own life that if you are really enjoy where you are, how different your life would be right now. So if you can take yourself and really enjoy who you are and put that in the situation that you may be struggling with at the moment, how different you will experience that situation. So something to remember is that when we forget to enjoy ourselves is to just remember that we didn't create ourselves, we were created. And it's not really our job to judge how creation was created. And it's our job really just to be amazed by it and really just to enjoy it. Because there was never ever a human that was exactly like us. So we can ask ourselves the question, why not? And why me? And why the way that I am? And why now? So it's helpful to just accept that I am who I am and my life is the way that it's supposed to be, because it was done for me and for the world. So it's sometimes hard to believe that or accept that, because our brain sometimes offer us these things that we should be different, or we should be better in this, or should do more of that and less of that, and we should have had a better childhood or a better education. And then it's easy to believe those things and think that something has gone wrong instead of just celebrating where we are. So we as humans have all the same problem, that we think that we know how life is supposed to be. So we have this picture in our minds and we know how the world should look like and how it should work and what our life should be like, and that there should be more of the good and less of the bad. But then we just get upset because this image in our mind and reality doesn't really match. And we have this ingrained beliefs in our mind that argue with reality all the time. And then we actually just feel bad and we think that something has gone wrong. And we also then compare our lives to other people's lives and think that their lives are better and that they have the look, or they have the lifestyle, or the business, or the family. And then we think they are doing life right and they're enjoying their life more. But in actual fact, it's the same everywhere, that we can't think over there is better. So what we need to do is just accept our life as it is right now, and don't think that if I'm better, I'm going to be able to enjoy my life more. So it's helpful to know that just accepting that life, it should be hard, that life isn't always, and it's not supposed to be easy and good and fun all the time. And if we can stop arguing with that life is hard, we can actually just enjoy the way it is right now. A lot of times we see successful people and we think they have everything, and then hear the news that those people took their lives, and because they were so unhappy or maybe so unfulfilled. And then on the other side, we see people that lives in poverty, that is seems to be so happy with their lives and enjoying every moment of it. So what makes the difference? And I think it's really that the people that's enjoying their life actually make the decision to enjoy their lives. And another thing is that they accept that life is hard and that life is 50-50. It's not just rainbows and daisies all the time. There are times that is really hard. And I think sometimes we set these big goals for ourselves and we want to achieve these big things. And then in actual fact, we're actually signing up for things to be hard. And then when things do get hard, we tend to think, oh, but something has gone wrong. It shouldn't be this way. It should be easy. So what I propose is then that if we really then want to take that road that is less traveled, that we should expect it to be hard, but we can also enjoy where we are at that point, and that we can sort of appreciate where we are right now and also enjoy and think that it shouldn't be any different. It shouldn't be easy. So that's what I have for you today. Thank you for listening.
Awesomeness. Thank you very much, Norma. It's sort of one of the things that comes in, like just a thought as you were talking, is that thing that Gary always talks about, like you need to enjoy the process, like he says, not the process, the process. But you need to be on that journey, enjoy the journey and take the journey as it is, because like there will be surprises, there will be potholes, I guess. The other day we were driving, I was joking that there was road in the pothole. So, that's what happens. And that's life. And we often are so focused on where we want to get to and the results that we want to attain. And we've spoken about being in the moment a lot on the show, I think, in the past. But it does also come down to that, like just appreciate where it is. And if it's a bad time, it's a bad time. If it's a good time, it's a good time. I can't remember who it was who said this, so you'll probably know, but that your biggest sorrow will become your biggest joy. I don't know if you know who said that. I can't remember who it is, but I mean, those are one of the things that's part of the process. So, thanks for an amazing message this morning. Really appreciate it. Thanks, Norma. You must have a lovely weekend.
Thank you, and goodbye to everyone. Have a good weekend.
Cheers. See you next week. All right. So with that, before... let's get my bearings here. So just before we get into everything else, just quickly a few announcements, and that I just quickly want to share with you. So the first one is that on Monday we start a brand new challenge for 5 days on PROpulsion Pro, which is 5 days to a more empowered you. Really looking forward to that one. It is hosted, it's been designed and created by Norma, and we run it on PROpulsion Pro. So it's complimentary to all members. If you are a PROpulsion Pro member, you can just go and sign up. There was an email that went out. There was a WhatsApp that went out, and we also posted it on the platform. So members can just go and join directly on the platform, or you can use the links and just register and say that you're a member. If you're not a member, you are interested in doing that, $575. If you're a Profile Me or ComSpace client, you get 10% off of that special deal for those guys. So you are welcome to do that. We start on Monday. So this is going to be amazing. Like, I've seen the content, we've gone through it. It's set up on the system. It's ready to go. And you need about half an hour to an hour a day for 5 days. And at the end of this, there's going to be a significant shift in you as a person. And that's really what it's about. I think I've spoken about this quite a lot on the show as well, is that if you want to build the business of your dreams, you've got to become the best version of yourself. Your mindset, your attitude, all of those things play such an important role. And this is specifically aimed at looking at those levers in your life that you can pull that's going to empower you to take your life and your business to the next level. So really something that I would highly recommend you go and check out. So if you are a member, go join. There's quite a few of you that have joined already. If you're not, consider becoming a member so you can join, or just you're also welcome just to enroll just for this one challenge. Then the second thing I need to just make you aware of, next week, Wednesday, the 20th of October, we have a session at 12 p.m. in the afternoon, live, just half an hour. It is a complimentary session. It's called How to Build a Financial Planner. And this is all about putting together a training program or development program or a sort of roadmap for development. Now, you can do that for yourself or for people in your business. So really an important one. I'll be joined once again by Adam Owen. So it's going to be a discussion between me and Adam of how you do that best in today's day and age. So you're welcome to join us for that. And then next week, Friday, really looking forward to next week's episode, because next week I'm going to be interviewing the 3 Financial Plan of the Year finalists for 2021. So really looking forward to that. So that discussion is happening next week. And I'll be interviewing all 3 of them together. And we're going to talk about a whole host of things, sort of what got them to enter, I guess, on the one hand, but also what is that journey and what has it meant to them to be part of this whole process, because I know it's quite a rigorous process. And so please join us next week for that one. And then just lastly, again, if you want to consider just joining PROpulsion Pro, it is the community that we've created. It is an amazing community. It's like awesome people that are part of this. If you want to find out more what it is about, how it works, what it costs, you can just head on to propulsion.co.za/pro. Alrighty, so with that, that's enough for some announcements this morning, I would say, don't you think? I do want to, just before I get into the topic, sort of invite you to please participate this morning, give your views, your opinions, participate in the chats, whether you're over on LinkedIn or you're on YouTube or on Facebook. Please do that. Take part in the conversation. A lot of this, as I said, is based on my conversations that I've had with several people inside and outside of the profession, as well as some things that I've observed, and also obviously some things that I've been reading and thinking about in recent times. So really a sort of maybe a little bit of a devil's advocate session this morning, maybe a bit of rattling the cage session this morning. But hey, if we don't do that, we don't take notice. So with that, let's get into today's topic. Right, so what are we talking about this morning? Well, this morning I am talking about the seismic shifts in financial advice, or maybe more on the financial advice landscape, and maybe even more if you really look at what we're going to be talking about, maybe more about how's the lives of our customers and our clients changed. And my big question is, are we moving with the times? Are we keeping up? Are we still trying to protect what we have done in the past and how we've done things in the past? Or are we actually moving forward and also just evolving as things are evolving? So that's sort of the main thing. I see my light is flickering. I hope it's not the power about to go out. So let's all thumbs for that. Right, so the very first thing that I would like to talk about is just the way we live and how that has changed. I mean, just think in the last 18 months, and this is what I said, like Kobus is on his way to KZN. He's not on a permanent holiday, but he's working from anywhere. And that is something that has now become apparent to so many of our clients that, listen, I'm not bound to be in Johannesburg or in Cape Town or in Bloemfontein or somewhere. I can work literally from anywhere, because my job that I thought I had to be amongst people and in a building and doing things like that, it's not necessary anymore. It is literally that you can work from anywhere. And we've figured out a way to do our work virtually and collaboratively with other people without being together with them. So this is a big thing. So people are going to start moving around, and not permanently. It's like some people will move to a new place permanently. Some people will be moving between different places all the time. But you won't be able to necessarily meet up with them in person like we used to do in the past. This sort of links on to leading sort of a nomadic lifestyle. And this is something that I actually looked into like a couple of years, about 3 or 4 years ago, to see, how can you work from anywhere in the world, but like, what are the consequences? How does this work? And now suddenly you find ourselves that we, like a lot of people, are going to be living this nomadic kind of lifestyle where it's either physically, like you're physically moving between places, or just digitally, moving between different things and different jobs and things, but you do it all digitally. So that nomadic way of how clients are living and where things are moving. And it's not only the younger generation, right? I mean, it's not like, I think often we think, oh, it's new things. So the new generation or the younger generation or, the youth of this country are the ones who's going to embrace this. This is not for us. until you experience it once, and then you start doing the same thing. So we should never assume that, older clients, more established clients closer to retirement is not going to want to do these kind of things. Then obviously the next level on top of that, because nomadic can mean locally, it can mean digitally, it can mean internationally, but I think the big part is like we're becoming global citizens, and we all know this. So you are able to go and live in any country and still do work in South Africa, basically. But whether it's you moving overseas, or whether it is your children or family or friends, or someone that does not live in South Africa anymore, but you still keep contact, you still talk, you still sort of, doing exactly the same things. But we're becoming global citizens, and the world has become so much smaller. Doing business with people in other countries have become actually so much easier. Receiving payments from overseas has become so much easier. I mean, we're doing that without even visiting the bank, without even having to talk to the bank for that matter. So all of these things are really, really changing the way that we view the world. And in sort of, I'm going to talk about changing values as well. And there I'm going to focus a little bit on the things that have become more important for us in recent times. But that's definitely the one thing. I think another big thing, and this is huge for me actually, is doing things on our own terms, like when we want to, how we want to. And it's more about, obviously, whatever it is you're trying to achieve than it is about how you got there, or where you were when you got there, I suppose. But doing things on your own terms. And this is just how the way we live has changed in the last 18 months. I think it's been coming for a long time. It's not like it was, now because of lockdown, let's go figure out a few new things. There have been people doing this for a long time, but it was a small percentage. And suddenly you get thrusted into this whole world where you can do it differently, where you are first forced to learn technology that now enables you to do these things much easier. And it's just not such a barrier, if you will. So that's the first thing. The first thing that we need to talk about is that the way we live and how that has changed. The second thing is obviously, and you heard Leilani talk about this earlier as well, where she talked about the role of technology. Very, very important. It is not going to go away. It's not going to become less. It's going to become more and more and more prevalent. And as I mentioned earlier, it's an enabler. So technology enables us to do things that we were not able to do before. Or it could be that, or it could enable us to do things more efficiently and more quickly and save time. It can enable, that your business becomes more sustainable. There's so many things that technology makes possible. And I think some of the things that I just want to say, if we're going digital, and if I say I'm talking about, I guess, the human race, right? Like, we do everything digitally, or most of us do a lot of things digitally. So we do research online. You don't necessarily go and talk to somebody that can give you advice. You first do a lot of reading, you watch videos, you listen to podcasts, those kind of things, even buy books electronically that you read on your Kindle or your phone or your iPad or something like that. But you do a lot of research without even leaving your house. We transact. To transact with people electronically and digitally has become so much easier. This is integrated in everything. So, I think sort of version 1 of this was, there's the information, but call us if you want to do something. Now it's like, okay, I bought my car over the internet, right? So yes, I did take it for a test drive, but they brought the car here, and then we went for a test drive, and we concluded everything online, apart from the very last things when we had to go and collect the car. But everything else happened online. I didn't have to leave, go visit them 3 times, like nothing. I did my research, I transacted, everything happened like that. And now the most important thing is that where people previously, we thought like, oh, maybe something goes wrong, and you didn't worry about it too much because it was sort of isolated. People review us all the time. We review other people and businesses online all the time, whether it's through our comments, whether it is through like a review system or whatever it may be. We are reviewing and also consuming reviews of things. So when you do your research, part of that research would be, let me review what other people are saying about this doctor, this financial advisor, this product, this service, whatever it may be in that sense. So digital trust is much more powerful at this point in time, I think, than human trust. And yesterday I had a very, very interesting conversation with somebody who really blew my mind with what we were talking about. But one of the things he said is that, you look at certain technologies, it's meant to, because we would love to trust other humans, and it's in us to want to try. And there are people who are extremely trusting of others. But the question remains, can you truly, truly trust every single human being? And sort of how do you move away from that and remove that requirement, or even the sort of the chance of being disappointed in that sense? Is you've got to move into a trustless system, which is something that digital makes possible, because with so many things, you can hardly go wrong with what you see there. And obviously digital is making things so much easier. If you think about, when we went into lockdown, shame if you ordered your stuff from Woolies, you waited 6 months and 3 days, but then very quickly Checkers came with 60 minutes. I see there's other places, and yeah, I know of things overseas that will blow your mind, and that you may or may not see at the financial planning conference in that discussion in our panel about technology. But really excited about that. So it's becoming easier and easier and easier to do things because of digital. And the one thing that we need to understand about all of this is that we're not like financial advice here on the one side, and then this is happening in all other industries and other professions and other parts of the world. Whatever is happening there will drive how we need to work with, interact, provide clients in the future. And that future is here. It's not far off. It's not something that's still in 2025 or 2030 or something like that. It's now. So clients are already looking for all of these things, and so important. Then our changing values. I think for me personally, I can only speak from a personal point of view as well, but what I have sort of gathered from talking to others, from just observing, listening, and seeing what people are writing and posting on LinkedIn, for example, the biggest thing is, I think in the past we valued, even whether we said it or not, we valued our work more than our lives. We sacrificed a lot for work. We sacrificed a lot. If you think about the amount of time spent in the car, I had to go into the office on Wednesday. It was the most frustrating day of my life, because I spent 2 hours in traffic on my way there and another hour and 15 minutes back, thanks to load shedding, out of my control. And it's just so unnecessary. 3 hours of my time gone. And the changing value here is now rather valuing life over work. And hence why working from anywhere and digitally is becoming such a big thing, because it gives me back my life and my time, which is so important. And we need to consider that when, we want to meet with clients, we want to talk with clients, we want to spend time with clients. How do we give them back more of their time, but still have the effect and the impact that we are looking for, and be able to go on that journey with them? Also, it's more about output than it is about effort. It's this thing about you work hard, you will be successful. Whether it takes me an hour to produce an outcome or whether I spend all day producing the same outcome, I think it should go without saying that the output is more important than the effort being put in, as long as that output is in fact valuable, and it is quality, and it is what we were looking for. The other thing is that we want to do more than one thing. Doing one job, there are still people who they just do their job day in, day out, and they love what they do, and they don't want to change anything. And that's great, because that's you being you, enjoying who you are, as Norma said earlier. But then there's some of us who wants to do multiple things. We don't just want to do one thing. I don't want to be locked into just being able to do one thing, because I'll go mad, number one. The other thing is, of course, that goes with that is being able to earn more than one income stream, because how else do you create the life that you want if you just have one income stream? There's still this story that, so many of us and so many people and clients are saying, I'm frugal and I'm living like I'm saving as much as I can for my retirement. For 40 years, you get to retirement and then you die of a heart attack or you get a stroke. Doesn't matter how healthy you are, you never know. And then you just waited all your life for this perfect moment to go and do what you want to do, and then you don't make it there. What's the point? So it's this balance between providing for the future, but also being able to experience things right now. And some of these things may not be new. It's just important for me to highlight that again. So earning more than one income stream is definitely something that one needs to consider, and to make certain things possible that would not be possible if you were just doing one thing, probably. Because often those things that do pay very well does take a lot of your time, and it does mean that you're not able to attain the life you want. And I know there are big proponents on the show about like creating sort of passive income streams as well semi-passive, because I don't think there's something like there might be one or two couple of things that's really passive, but most of it is semi-passive, but still it's recurring in nature. It's not starting from zero every single day, every single month. So that's important. Now, here's a big question for you. So if all of this goes, okay, Francois, cool, I hear you, but okay. My question to you is the following. And if you watched last week's show with Higu, I mean, that he said some things that were really like, okay, we need to think about this, because he's not wrong, even though he just speaks from a pure tax perspective. But here's a clear thing. If you think about all the things I've just spoken about, and let me recap them for you. The way we live has changed. So where we travel, where we live, where we work from, how we work, all of that has changed. The use of digital has increased dramatically. And what we value and what's important to us has also changed for many people. So here's the thing, right? I don't know if you've realized this. It's almost like being in a hot pot or in a pot of water that's being heated up, and we're almost about to boil and we don't even realize it. But the tax system is adapting. So my question to you, are you and I adapting accordingly? And why do I say this? So let's just have a look at this. Because people have started working more overseas, and just look at this from a South African perspective, right? People have started working overseas because they can't find work here, so they go work other places, or it's more lucrative to go and work there and send the money back here, whatever the reason may be, right? Previously, if you were out of the country for certain amounts of time, that income was absolutely, and if it met the requirements, it was absolutely exempt. So there was no tax here. You do pay tax in that country, but there was absolutely no tax here. And then there were certain countries where there was no tax over there, and there was no tax over here. And then SARS went, no, somebody's got to benefit from this. So let's just remove that unlimited cap, and we make it a capped amount of 1.25 million at the moment. So that means that only some of your money from overseas will be exempt, or your client's money will be exempt. So that's the first thing that has happened. The second thing is now this new retirement tax. Retirement fund tax on immigration. And the sad thing about that is that you have absolutely no control over it. So if you emigrate and you let SARS know, listen, I'm now tax non-resident, they go, boom, thank you very much. And at that point, it triggers the tax. It sits there waiting, accumulating interest, and only 3 years from then are you able to actually cash in that amount. So very important because it makes a massive difference. The other thing that has happened recently is also the increase in tax rates. Now, that is South African specific for whatever reason. We're trying to make up the shortfall in the fiscus and blah, blah, blah. But still, we have increased tax rates. We have different rules that's coming in all the time, deductions being limited. So the system is evolving all the time in order to make sure that they stay up with the times. But here's the biggest thing that maybe most of us don't really realize, and we think like, oh, SARS is so far behind. It's not the case. Cross-border sharing of information. It's crazy what SARS knows and what are being shared by the UK and the US and us with them and the rest of Africa, etc. So that is happening as we speak. It's not a thought. It's not an agreement. It is happening. SARS knows things that you think they don't know. SARS knows things that clients think SARS doesn't know, and that is absolutely not the case. So information is starting to flow back and forth cross-border as well. So not only are we working from anywhere, not only are we thinking we're hiding stuff everywhere, people are sharing information. Governments are sharing information. Tax authorities are sharing information. So this is happening. So my question is, are we adapting to this as well? And I'll get now to sort of the punchline of this morning's discussion, I guess. And this is sort of the last point that I want to touch on, but there's quite a few things that I want to talk about here. If I may call it traditional advice versus future advice, right? The biggest thing now at this point in time, I think there's a couple of things, right? Everything, like there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 things I want to discuss here, but all of it is important, but all in its own sort of way. So the first thing is that now suddenly data becomes extremely important. And one of the things that has happened over the last few years, and at the Financial Planning Summit, we discussed this in that one session that I moderated. But what have we done over the last, I don't know, since the 2000s when we really started getting into investments and helping clients with investments? It was this one principle about investment planning was diversification. And diversification means that we split everything everywhere. We don't keep all our eggs in one basket. All of that kind of stuff. You all know that very well. But what has now been the sort of result of that? So has diversification worked? I think so, absolutely. But one of the unintended consequences is that now my things are spread all over the place. And I'm not able to see them all in one place as one, because at the end of the day, I want to see my wealth as one thing, right? It's not going to be, I just look at each investment or each retirement plan or each little thing on its own. You know what your plans are. You want to see your total picture. So that's why data is so important, because one, there is a lot of data available that wasn't available before, because previously it was all paper-based. Now, as we've built these data warehouses and data depositories and things, there's so much more data. But now how do we combine data? Because the problem now is that not everybody provides their data in one format. So that data needs to be sort of massaged into the same format so that we can aggregate them and put them together and then start in either reporting to clients, sort of identifying trends, looking for opportunities, identifying risks, and sort of making decisions based on those. So the need for data is absolutely critical. And not even that, just what's even more important is the automation almost of that data, or the flow of that data. So important. And this is something, whether you're a one-man IFA or whether you're a multiple advisor, multinational, whatever, FSP, data is as important for the one man as it is for the big business. So that's the one thing, and that you're going to see is going to be a big drive going forward. And that's going to influence how we give advice and the advice we give and what we focus on. The other thing that's sort of concerning to me at the moment, something that I've really thought about a lot. When I started, I mean, everything was about, and we know it was like this, like when you started in this business, it was all about product, understanding the products, being able to sell the products, identifying the need, match need and product, and there you go. Then it moved to, call it CFP, technical financial planning. You know your tax, you know all the legislation. You can do proper investment planning, proper calculations. You can, all that stuff that's in there. Very, very important. And then we moved into sort of the next kind of things where now it's more about let's guide people, let's coach people, which is probably where we are now a little bit. So you have transitionists and you have therapists and you have coaches and you have all sorts of different disciplines in that. And I think, as I said before, these things actually are all required. It's not just one or the other. You need all of it, because as we evolve as a profession, you add on, you don't take away, you don't replace technical with coaching. You don't replace product with technical. These things need to work together, because all of them mean that we can give better advice. We have a deeper understanding of clients. So it's building blocks. It's not like, oh, this isn't working, let's break it down and build it again. That to me would be the wrong approach, but that is exactly what I see happening. So many advisors tell me, like, listen, I'm not interested in the technical stuff. I will, and it's fine. You can outsource it to a paraplanner, or you can send it to a company for you to do, whatever that approach is. But that doesn't take away the responsibility to know your technical stuff. There's a difference between knowing and then also doing the work. You have to know, you have to stay up to date. So getting back to Lelani's point about CPD being so important for any profession, it's absolutely critical. And here's the thing, we now need new technical knowledge. And I'll talk about a couple of things now why I say that. But new technical knowledge is required over and above the new soft skills, the coaching, the guidance, the mentoring, all of that stuff that we also need to do for clients. And all that really is meant to do is for us to get a better understanding of a client, their situation, where they're going and what drives them, so that we can align the advice with who they are, so that they can probably, as Norma says, enjoy who they are. But it's amazing how, like, just by the way, sort of just a side note, what Lelani spoke about, what Norma speaks about, and what I spoke about today, how these things always tend to come together without us even talking before the time. So it's amazing how these things are integrated. Anyway, back to traditional advice versus future advice. So obviously then it's also this sort of coming together of tech and human. This is sort of also, I think the premise of most of the conferences and conventions and summits and things that have taken place over the last year or so. A big focus on the fact that we're not going anywhere. Tech alone can't do this. Tech is just the enabler, as I mentioned earlier, but it is the coming together. It is about embracing technology. It's about adopting technology. It's about integrating technology. So extremely, extremely important that we do it that way, but absolutely critical. Now, here's the other stuff that really is sort of, for me, okay. The first thing is sort of traditional retirement planning, and this started with Hugo's comment last week, because I think a lot of us will go like, whoa, we just need to protect what we do. Retirement annuities have a specific place and a specific reason. But if clients move, they're going to lose a lot of that money in that. So the tax benefits that they got is actually null and void. Because if you think about it, contributions, for example, I'm not going to go into technical, but the contributions are tax deductible, which is a small amount, versus the fund value, which is completely taxable almost in terms of the new immigration rules, if that person decides to leave and they don't want to come back, without them deciding whether they want to cash it in or not. It just happens. So that means that in that instance, like, we can't just go, oh, you want to retire? Let's look at retirement products. We need to understand what is your long-term view. And even if people are not sure, they may or may not, we need to make sort of decisions around that. And I don't think that is going to be easy. It's definitely not going to be an easy task, but we can't ignore it. So that's the big thing. A lot of people want to retire earlier, semi-retire, or basically going back to, I want to do things that I want to do, when I want to do it, how I want to do it. And that would mean retirement for them, whether that's at 30, 40, 50, 60, or 80. It doesn't really matter. But how do we plan for those things? And I know there's a lot of focus being on this, specifically with lifestyle financial planning, etc. Definitely sort of speaking to this, and I would put that into the future of retirement planning. But where we make provision for retirement planning, I think, is the next thing that's going to evolve quite significantly. Then, I don't know for how many of you, for me, it's quite an interesting sort of arena, but crypto. And my question around crypto is the following, because there's a lot of people who know a lot about this stuff. And some people are focused on making money with it, and some people are focused on, oh, this is where it's going long term. These are the applications. This is what it means. Really understand what crypto is meant to be. So, and it doesn't matter whether it's Bitcoin or Ethereum or whatever, but all of those things have got different applications. They play different roles, but they all fall under the crypto sort of universe, if you will. But my question around these things now is like, more and more of your clients are holding crypto. More and more of your clients are dabbling in crypto. More and more of your clients are learning about crypto. So are you and I learning about crypto? That's the first question. The second thing that's sort of like if you listen to people who's really deep into this stuff for many years now, and the amount of things that they've done and amassed and sort of those things, are we able to help them with their estate planning? Because suddenly things are really, really changing in that regard. It's great that they're building all this wealth, but what happens when they die? What happens then? And it's not a case anymore of like SARS doesn't know that this stuff exists because it's on the blockchain, and it's not like they know. And if they ask you and you lie about it, then even worse so. Tax planning, what are we doing around tax planning? And again, why I say we cannot move away from the technical knowledge that is required to provide financial advice. It is just not a thing. You can't do that. You can't ignore it. You can't make it someone else's problem because someone else is not delivering the advice. And then lastly, the impact of this on retirement planning, because this is definitely one of the vehicles where a lot of people are now making provision for retirement instead of using our traditional sort of ways of doing this. But do we have the knowledge? Are we spending the time to get to know this? And I know there's some of you absolutely do. There's been a book written by one of you on this. Kobus has actually written a book on it. There's been a lot of sort of chatter on social media about it as well. But do we have a deep understanding? And do we continue to learn about this and really make it part of what we know? Because if we're not going to be able to advise clients on this, it's going to move somewhere else. And the regulation that's coming around this, I think, is great. It is necessary. But yeah, so we don't yet know where that is going exactly. but still very, very important. The other thing, and I've spoken about this before, is that there's going to be, traditionally we wanted to build long-term relationships with clients. We provide ongoing advice. So we look after the investments, we manage investments, we review, we monitor, we make changes, like all that kind of stuff. So it's ongoing advice, ongoing relationship. But there's also going to be a big shift for many clients away from that, and they more want to have an as and when advice sort of offering where, look, I'm going to do my research, I'm going to check the reviews, I'm going to make sure this is what I want to do, and then I want to come with this to you and say, this is what I want to do. Do you think it's a good idea or not? Am I missing anything? Thank you very much. I'll pay you for your time, and away I go. So that's sort of a new thing that is happening, and already there are people providing that kind of service, financial advisors providing that kind of service. But, are we speaking to clients to understand that? The other part of it, on the other side, so on this side we have as and when, and then on this side, well, in the middle we'll have the ongoing advice or service, and on the other extreme we have automated advice. Now, automated advice will always be very basic. It will always be aimed, I think, at the sort of bigger part of the client base, that tail, people that are not ready yet to really spend time with you. It's not worth your time. It's not profitable to your business, but you do want to bring them into the business, start building a relationship, start making them used to your brand, the way you do things, what you stand for, and deliver value that way. So that's the other part. And again, this is where technology plays a big role. And are we, as one-man, two-man, three-man IFAs, really looking at implementing some of this? Because that's where it's going to go. The problem is, if they go somewhere else, right, then that's where they start building a relationship. So as they go through the cycle where they want to enter into into a relationship with an advisor because they need to speak to someone, who are they going to talk to? The people they already know. So how do we make sure that we can do that? And then a big thing that I've I've also spoken about this before is cross-border advice. And there's a few ways that we can do this. One is that you can become, I don't want to say an expert, but you can definitely get specialized in a country. So if most of your clients are moving to Oz, you can sort of learn what it's like. You can even get licensed that side if you wanted to be able, whether they this side or that side, be able to give them advice. The other part of it is obviously to partner with someone on that side, and you can work together on a client, because often these clients still leave things in South Africa and they build new things in Oz, for example. And then how do you partner with someone on that side that you can trust and then really provide advice with or to that client? So those are my thoughts this morning. Let me quickly jump into the comments before we finish. So yeah, I see Razan says, sounds like an awesome challenge. I hope you will join Razan. Kobus says he is embracing the nomad working lifestyle, and he's doing it very, very well. I'm very jealous there of you, Kobus. Embracing techniques is an amazing enabler. I guess you mean technology. Yep, he goes, oops, technology. Yeah, cool stuff. So, and Jess says, I always value having flexibility with money and products. And that's the big thing, eh? I think that's something that I could actually add under changing values, is people want flexibility. They want adaptability, and they want to be able to do so effortlessly without barriers. So very, very important. So yeah, I think it's some amazing times ahead if you embrace this. If not, at some point you'll be either forced to do so, or you will decide to go do something else probably. But yeah, from my side, ladies and gents, thank you very much. I appreciate you being here this morning. I always appreciate everybody that joins live, but also if you're watching the recording, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. If you haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe. We really appreciate it. And on that note, I wish you a fantastic weekend. And remember to raise the bar. Thank you very much, and bye-bye.